ever had a dream so vivid that when you woke up, you couldn't tell if it was just in your head or a glimpse of your future? For one man, his nightmares weren't just dreams. They were warnings, and each one came true. Michael Grant was just an ordinary 28-year-old working in software, living in a small apartment in the city. He had a normal life, work, home, occasional nights out with friends. But everything changed one week when he started having the same dream every night. It always began in a long, narrow hallway. The walls were peeling, yellowed with age. At the end of the hall was a door, slightly ajar. From behind it came a faint whisper. "Do you remember?" At first, Michael brushed it off as just a bad dream. But the next day, while walking to work, he found himself standing in front of a building. The hallway, the same walls, the same door. He froze. Could it really be a coincidence? That night, the dream returned. But this time, it was different. As the door creaked open, Michael saw a figure sitting in a chair. A man, or rather, a version of himself staring straight at him. Pale, hollow-eyed, silent. It was his own face, twisted and unfamiliar. Michael woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. A couple of days later, his friend Chris died in a car accident. Michael's stomach twisted when he realized that Chris had appeared in his dream, sitting silently in the same chair, staring. It wasn't just coincidence anymore, it was a pattern. Every nightmare seemed to predict reality. Desperate for answers, Michael began keeping a diary, writing down every detail of his dreams. Each entry made him more anxious. Each night, the dreams became darker, more vivid, more real. One night, he wrote, "There's silence. Then the door opens. And in the darkness, I hear my name. Michael, it's my turn now." He couldn't sleep after that. Every shadow in his apartment seemed to move. Every creak sounded like someone whispering his name. The nightmares weren't stopping. They were accelerating. Then came the night he couldn't ignore. Walking home from work, he passed the old building again. The door, the same one from his dreams, was slightly open. A chill ran down his spine, the same cold he had felt in his dreams. His hands trembled, but something inside pushed him forward. Michael stared at the doorway. Every instinct screamed to run, but the dream had pulled him here, and he couldn't turn away. He reached for the door, and slowly he pushed it open. The darkness inside seemed alive. He stepped in, and the hallway felt longer than it should, bending in impossible ways. He heard the whisper again, closer this time. "Michael, you can't hide." With every step, the memories of his dreams collided with reality. The chair at the end of the hall, the pale figure sitting silently, it was all exactly as he had seen. Michael froze. His heart pounded in his chest. He wanted to turn back, but he was trapped by the same curiosity and terror that had followed him every night. The figure stirred. Michael's blood ran cold, and that's when he realized his dreams were no longer just dreams. They were a map, a countdown, and he was running out of time. Michael took a hesitant step toward the chair. The figure slowly lifted its head, and Michael's own face looked back at him, twisted in an expression he had never seen in a mirror. The whisper came again, chilling him to the bone. "Michael, it's time." Michael's legs felt like lead as he took another step toward the chair. The figure sitting there, the twisted version of himself, remained eerily silent, its hollow eyes locked on his. Every instinct screamed for him to turn and run, but the same unseen force that had pulled him into the building all week now anchored him in place. He remembered the diary. Every word he had written over the past nights flashed in his mind. Each dream, each warning, each terrifying detail, it was all leading him here. And now, standing just a few feet away, he realized there was no turning back. The figure leaned forward slowly, and Michael felt a cold rush of fear wash over him. His reflection's lips parted. whispering words that seemed to echo in the hall. "You can escape what is written." Michael. Michael's mind raced. Was this really happening? Or had he finally lost touch with reality completely? He reached for the diary in his bag, flipping to the last entry. His hands shook violently. There it was, a single line he hadn't written yet, but somehow knew it would appear. "Death comes for those who ignore the warning." The air grew thick and heavy. The hallway seemed to stretch endlessly, shadows crawling along the walls. Michael's own breathing was deafening in his ears. He realized with a jolt, the dreams hadn't been showing him the future. They had been preparing him, and he was dangerously unprepared. The figure suddenly rose from the chair. Its movements were slow but deliberate. Michael stumbled backward, heart hammering, and for the first time, he saw it clearly. Every scar, every hollow line, every unnatural feature mirrored something he had felt in the nightmares, but never fully understood. This wasn't just a dream reflection. It was a warning of what he could become. Panic surged through him. Michael bolted down the hallway, slamming doors behind him, hoping to escape. The whisper followed, growing louder, more insistent. "Michael, it's time." He reached the exit, the faint light of the street spilling through the doorway. Relief washed over him for a moment. He thought he had escaped. But the final warning came when he turned back. The hallway behind him was empty, except for a single piece of paper lying on the floor. Michael bent down and picked it up. His blood ran cold. It was his own diary, open to the last entry, but the words were different now. "You have one choice, Michael. Step inside, or live the nightmare forever." The street outside was silent. The city lights flickered like weak stars. Michael's mind raced. What could he do? He had spent nights fearing his dreams, yet the answer had always been right in front of him. Confront them, or let them consume him. Gathering every ounce of courage, Michael stepped back into the building. The door shut behind him with a thunderous bang, plunging him into darkness. And then he saw it. The figure himself, twisted, hollow-eyed, waiting at the chair. But this time, Michael acted. He reached into his bag, pulled out the diary, and held it up. Words he hadn't written yet appeared on the page. "I control my fate, not the dreams." The figure froze, a distorted scream echoing through the hall. Shadows recoiled. Michael felt a wave of heat, then cold, then silence. When he dared to open his eyes, the hallway was gone. He was back in his apartment, morning light filtering through the blinds. His heart pounded, sweat soaking his shirt, but he was alive. Michael never saw the hallway again. The dreams stopped. But sometimes, when the city was silent and the wind whispered through the streets, he could swear he heard a faint voice calling his name. A reminder that some nightmares are never truly gone. Some dreams are not just dreams. And some warnings are written into reality itself.